Food stamps and medical assistance, they're designed to help the needy. But this evening we have a story about one Brown County family that allegedly received more than $20,000 over the last 3 years.
And the problem, prosecutors say, is the family members were not eligible for the help because the husband and father of 5 was working and making $31 an hour. Fox 11 on special assignment uncovers the stunning fraud case. Here's Robert Hornacek.
Food stamps and medical assistance are supposed to be for people in need, but prosecutors say more and more people are taking advantage of the system. Who pays for it? We all do. Take the case of 36-year-old Angela Burchett, who is charged with 2 counts of public assistance fraud. She allegedly received more than $22,000 in taxpayer-funded benefits, while her husband was holding down a job. A pretty good job. There's not been a final ruling in this case about whether Burchett committed any wrongdoing, because the case is still working its way through the legal system. But according to the criminal complaint against Angela Burchett, her husband Bradley was making $31 an hour working for Canadian National Railroad. He had health insurance and worked 40 to 50 hours a week. That means he was bringing home between $64,000 and $80,000. But while he was working, prosecutors say taxpayers were paying for some of his family's food and health care.
They were well over the income limits.
Jenny Hoffman is a supervisor with Brown County Human Services, the agency that administers food share, badger care, and child care programs. Hoffman says when Angela Burchett applied for benefits, she only listed herself and her children as living in their Wrightstown home. But investigators claim Burchett's husband was also living there.
They need to be honest with us, and they need to answer the questions truthfully and let us determine whether or not what they're telling us is going to affect benefits.
Angela Burchett's attorney declined our request for an interview for this story, and I wanted to speak with Burchett, but she's in the Winnebago County Jail. She's being held on 4 charges there, including trying to obtain a controlled substance by fraud. According to the complaint in the public assistance fraud case, Angela Burchett says she had marital problems with her husband and told her caseworkers that she was separated from her husband and had no income. But in an interview with investigators, Bradley Burchett said he stayed at the home 3 times a week every 2 or 3 weeks. His property and belongings were in the home. It was his permanent address and where his mail was delivered. I tried to contact Bradley Burchett at the address listed for the family, but no one answered. Fox 11 could not locate a working telephone number for Bradley Burchett. According to the criminal complaint against Angela Burchett, she told an investigator the couple filed joint tax returns, and Bradley supplied money and ate food at the home, which was purchased with food stamps. The complaint goes on to say investigators asked Burchett if she found it strange that she used her husband's health insurance and badger care at the same time. Burchett reportedly told investigators it was helpful.
Under our guidelines, the investigator and the team did their job to prove that he was residing in the home. And so in this instance, we were able to refer the case to the district attorney.
I spoke with longtime prosecutor John Zakowski about the case in January before he took the bench as a Brown County judge.
These people are told explicitly what they can and can't do and what the rules are.
Back in January, Zakowski told me this is a pretty clear case of fraud.
If you have a case where somebody is, they say, well, I'm only there part of the time, but if they're using the same P.O. box, the same address, all correspondence is there, and that's really the only other place that they're resting their head except when they're on the road. Quite frankly, I think the common sense approach is that's where that person's living, and therefore it's incumbent upon the person who's applying for aid to list that person.
Hoffman says cases like this end up hurting the people who need public assistance the most.
It does bother me because it really takes away from those that are in need, and we need to help the families and children in our community with our programs.
So how much fraud is out there? Well, last year investigators in Brown County found $770,000 in benefits that should not have been paid out. Investigators looked at 192 cases of possible fraud, but in more than half of those cases, there was no fraud found. Angela Burchett will be back in court later this month. If you know someone who's getting benefits they're not entitled to, fraud investigators would like to hear from you. Just call 920-448-6378.